guess I wanted to talk to you because I need help with a few strategies. I find that when I'm like doing the tests, I'm like torn between two questions. And I just watched a video of yours and like you talked about this, so I feel like I know what you're gonna say. I'm torn between two questions and two answers, and I know one of them is right, but I will pick the other one. And I know it's right. Like I tell myself like this is the right answer, and I pick the other one. So I don't know how to not to do that.
Well, this is where you want to focus your review.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In these instances in particular, what raises the doubt about the right answer choice that pushes you away from it, that makes it seem unappealing, and what makes the wrong answer seem appealing in the first place, and what ultimately makes it wrong. So you want to hone in on those exact keywords that make all the difference. That's where the review process comes in.
And that's what I've been doing. I just did a couple questions because this is LR mostly, that where I'm like, that's the problem. That like I also use a strategy of like looking for wrong answers and eliminating those. Would you like say that's a good strategy to use, or should I go into the answers knowing looking for the right answer? Like for some questions, like main point I know, or like conclusion I know, like I paraphrase or I like know what the answer is and then I go look for it. But for some, I look for the wrong answers so I can get rid of them, and then the last one I pick. Like would you say that's a good strategy, except for the ones obviously that you can like foresee?
Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. In the cases where you're down to two, process of elimination is often going to be the best approach.
Okay. Yeah, because that's like the two things that I'm like kind of counting on. Well, not counting on, but that's the ones I use, especially for LR and RC. RC was like my biggest problem. And then the past like 3 weeks, I've just like been doing that, and like has honestly like really, really helped me, which is good to like read for structure. And like not really like looking into the details, but like just seeing, okay, he's talking about a theory and he's gonna either support it or say it's wrong. Is that like also like how you're supposed to do it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you're reading for structure. It sounds like you're doing all the right things.
Yeah, because before when I was studying, I would like really like if I didn't understand a sentence, I would like read it and read it and read it and like really like try to pay attention to the details, and then I would finish the passage and be like, okay, what did I just read? And so then after doing it for so long, I realized that like most of the time the passage would like say these theories believe this, but this is wrong for this, and then the author will like give a bunch of evidence as to why he believes it or not, and like counter evidence. So that's like what I'm doing. So like when the question asks me like what would the author believe, then I just go like I know where it is, and then like it's so easy for me to do that. And it's like I've realized that the past couple of weeks, and I don't know how I didn't do that before.
Fantastic. No, you're doing it exactly the right way, that you want to treat a reading comprehension passage like a big logical reasoning stimulus and look at it to see how the author is going about making their argument or presenting potentially multiple viewpoints, and seeing how they go about presenting those arguments. It's not about understanding all the information in a factual way. It's about seeing what role each statement plays in the passage as a whole.
Yeah. Okay. And then also for reading comp, when the question asks the tone of the author, this one's like kind of tricky for me because like it'll give you two options of like outright like support, or like kind of dismissive, or not dismissive, but like a little bit less than like yes, completely support. And I don't know how to like pick the right one, because I know it's support, but I don't know how much they support it. So I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, so this is where a mix of process of elimination and pre-phrasing can come in. So let's say you know going into the question that the author is somewhat supportive of a given scholar, let's say. So any choices that are not supportive, you could at least knock out.
Yeah.
And then if there are two choices remaining that both relate to support, you then want to hone in on the small differences between them. Is there an adjective that perhaps is going a little bit too far? And then you knock out that choice for being too extreme. It only takes one little word or one emphasis to make it technically wrong, and then you can eliminate it.
Okay. And I guess this is kind of similar too. Sometimes the words, I don't know what they mean, and then they turn out to be the right answer, but I didn't pick them because I didn't know what they meant. So would you say that like if I'm like again torn between two answers and one of them I don't know what it means, should I pick that one when I know the other one's kind of wrong?
Yes. If you know the
Yeah.
other one's wrong, then pick the one you don't understand. Yes.
Not like completely wrong, but I'm like, this doesn't sound very good.
Then yeah, I would go for the one that you don't understand. That's the funny thing, is you've got to learn to be comfortable picking a choice that you don't understand. The fact that you understand it has no bearing on whether it's right or not. That's internal to you, and just that you haven't learned every word in the thousands and thousands of words in the English language. That's fine. You don't need to. These are high level words. These are hard. I don't know a lot of them either, especially when it comes down to the science related ones. I've gotten a lot of questions right just because I was able to get over not knowing what it meant and still being okay with picking it anyway. If you can eliminate the other four, then whatever remains, even if you don't know what it means or you don't understand why it would be correct, if you can't knock it out, just pick it.
Yeah, because it happened. I attended one of the classes this week, and we were doing a passage, and the question, I was torn between two, and I was like, I don't know what this word means, so I picked the other one, and it was the other one was the right answer, and then I looked it up, and it was literally like what the passage was talking about. I'm like, wow, okay, that's rude.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, but that's like kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, just like being able to like be confident in myself to like pick the answer, not doubt myself, which is like what I'm trying not to do, like be like sabotage myself, like no, that's wrong. So yeah.
Well, you're thinking about the right things, and it's just for this last week, I would look at leveling up your review process a little bit more in any questions that are still on your list to review that you don't fully understand yet. What's your study plan for this final week in terms of taking exams and such?
I was just going to ask you what you would recommend doing, because this is my third time taking the exam. And the first time I was going to write it, it was during October where like the website shut down. And so like I was like writing it midway and they were like, you can't write it anymore. So then I wrote it a week after, but I was like so tired, like just like, I guess like exhausted from like the process. And so then I like kind of burnt out because I studied so much during that week of like, I didn't know when I was going to write it. And so then when it came to it, I was like so tired. And so then I wrote it in November and I did better, but I know I can do better. So I want to do it again. And so I studied a little bit the week before that November test, but like not too much. But I sometimes, the amount of stuff I was studying, I would get questions wrong that I knew how to do it, but I would just get them wrong because I was self-doubting, because I think I was burnt out and just like so anxious. So I don't know if I should like study the week before or just do like some review, but like not look at the answers. Like just kind of, so what would you recommend doing?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your experience with the October LSAT. I'm glad that you were able to take the November one successfully. It sounds like what you were experiencing was burnout, where you got it wrong even because you were doubting yourself, even though you didn't understand it. Yeah. So I think you certainly don't need to do a ton in this next week. Doing a little bit of light review, maybe taking one practice test, that might be all you need. I wouldn't do more than that.
And would you recommend looking at like the answers, like after I do the practice test and look at my score, or just kind of like do it and then leave it?
That's a good question. I mean, personally, for me, I'd have a hard time not looking at the answers. Yeah. So if you would have a hard time restraining yourself, then by all means, go ahead and look. There's no reason not to. I think that wanting to know your results is probably natural for a lot of folks. I mean, could you see yourself going through questions or an exam and not looking at anything afterwards?
No.
Okay, if you would. I wouldn't be able to restrain myself, and that's fine. Just don't do too many questions. Just treat these as an opportunity to go through the motions and build your endurance, maintain your endurance, having another run through before test day. That's the purpose of doing these questions. Yeah,
that's kind of like what I'm doing right now. And also just one last question. I feel like the last section of the test, I'm like, my brain is so tired and I don't know how to avoid that.
Yeah. And endurance on this exam is hard. Yeah, for real. So I hear where you're coming from. And that's one reason why getting more practice tests under your belt can be beneficial. So the solution to not be so tired in section 4 is to do more tests. And
Okay.
I'm not saying do a ton. And then this next week, I'd say probably for you, just 1 or 2 exams max, and one alone would be fine also, is a way to build up the endurance.
Because especially I had 2 reading comp in November, the first one and then the last one. And the last one, I was like, oh my God, I want this to be over. It was so hard. So yeah. But so I'm just gonna, I guess what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do like 2 sections back to back of reading comp to like build the endurance instead of maybe a practice test. I don't know.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a good way to go. If 2 reading comps would be the hardest back to back that you could imagine, then yeah, I would do 2 reading comps back to back to experience what that's like, so that test day wouldn't be the first time if it happened.
Yeah. That's all I have. All the questions I have. Yes.
Awesome, Carla. Well, it sounds like you're in a pretty good place. Let me know if you need anything at all in this final week. I'm happy to help.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.